Life's journey is at times like rough waves, swaying us in unpredictable directions. In the midst of our busy daily lives, there are moments when we pause and reflect on where we are headed and what we are living for. In a sea of endless information and choices, finding our true selves is never easy. Yet, this very question becomes an important starting point that leads us to a deeper life. Over 2,300 years ago, China was in an age of chaos. Among countless nations competing for power, the people suffered, and many longed for true peace and the right path. In the midst of this upheaval, there was a philosopher who sought to illuminate the turbulent world through deep insight into human nature. His name was Mencius. He inherited and developed the teachings of Confucius, advocating the idea that human nature is inherently good, the theory of innate goodness. In an era ruled by force, Mencius championed kingly governance, the rule of virtue, emphasizing the values of true leadership and humanity. Mencius's life was not one that chased power, but one filled with the anguish and passion of a scholar devoted to realizing true morality and justice. His philosophy offers profound answers to today's societal issues, educational direction, and the role of leadership. Today, we seek to encounter the timeless wisdom of Mencius through the story of his life. Let us take a moment to see what kind of resonance his life's journey may bring to each of ours. Whether it might become a small guiding light that helps us not lose our way in this complex world. From this moment on, please quietly lend your ear to his story. In 372 BCE, Mencius was born in the state of Zhou in ancient China. He studied Confucianism, inheriting the academic tradition of Zhi Qi, the grandson of Confucius. The era Mencius lived in was known as the Warring States period, a time of great turmoil. Numerous feudal states constantly fought for power, and the lives of the people were filled with suffering and insecurity. It was an age dominated by the logic of power. Amidst this background, many philosophers emerged with their own ideas, trying to resolve the chaos. Mencius grew up under the teachings of his mother. As shown in the well-known tale, Mencius' Three Moves, his mother greatly influenced his upbringing, even moving house 3 times to ensure a proper educational environment. At first, they lived near a cemetery. But when Mencius mimicked funeral rites, she moved near a marketplace. When he began imitating merchants, she moved again near a school. Thanks to such efforts, Mencius was able to learn the virtues of benevolence, righteousness, propriety, and wisdom from an early age. In his youth, Mencius, like other intellectuals of the time, traveled to various feudal states to spread his political philosophy. He urged the rulers to practice not the hegemonic rule based on force, but the kingly rule based on virtue. He said, "A benevolent person has no enemy." In other words, a ruler who truly practices benevolence will be followed by all the people under heaven, making them invincible. While most rulers focused solely on territorial expansion and power struggles, Mencius emphasized that loving the people and upholding moral principles were the true path to national strength. However, his ideals were not easily accepted. Many rulers praised his theory of kingly rule, but clung to the logic of power in practice. Mencius spent many years traveling and advocating for his beliefs, often facing disappointment. Through these hardships, he never abandoned his convictions. Rather, his struggles led him to a deeper reflection on human nature. Mencius asserted the theory of innate human goodness. He presented 4 clues to support his belief that humans are born with a kind heart, the feeling of compassion, the sense of shame and dislike, the sense of humility and yielding, and the sense of right and wrong. When a child is about to fall into a well, anyone would instinctively feel pity. From these feelings arise the virtues of benevolence, righteousness, propriety, and wisdom, respectively. Even in the harsh reality of the Warring States period, Mencius's philosophy upheld human dignity and hope, shining like a ray of light in the darkness. Mencius advocated for kingly rule, insisting that the most important duty of a ruler is to care for the lives of the people. He said, "The people are the most important. The state altars come next, and the ruler is the least important." This was a groundbreaking statement in a society centered around royal authority. It clearly showed his humanistic belief that the peaceful life of the people takes precedence over the existence of the state itself, and that rulers exist for the sake of the people. He also said, "Without a constant livelihood, there can be no constant mind." This meant that only when people have stable jobs and can meet their basic needs can they develop proper moral consciousness. Mencius did not merely emphasize moral teachings. He had a realistic perspective that economic stability and material well-being were essential for a moral society. He argued that rulers should ensure productive activities, reduce taxes, and encourage education. The most important aspect of Mencius's thought was the realization of the innate goodness within human nature. Based on the theory of innate goodness, he believed that all people are born with the virtues of benevolence, righteousness, propriety, and wisdom, and must cultivate them to completion. He emphasized that practicing these virtues is the essence of living a truly human life. By underscoring the duties one ought to fulfill as a human being. He insisted that humans, as beings above animals, must live morally. Even amid a chaotic era, Mencius never gave up on his ideals. Though he advocated his philosophy to many rulers, he ultimately failed to find a monarch who would realize his vision. In the end, he returned to his hometown in his later years to teach students and devote himself to writing the book Mencius. This book contains dialogues between Mencius and his disciples, as well as conversations with various rulers, encapsulating the essence of his philosophy. Mencius reflects his upright character, love for the people, and passionate pursuit of truth. He could not tolerate injustice, and was willing to risk his life for what he believed was right. His life was a journey of practicing benevolence and righteousness, and he became a model for intellectuals by never compromising his beliefs despite countless hardships. Mencius taught that moral choices matter in every moment of our lives. Even the smallest actions must be guided by benevolence and righteousness, and through such consistent practice, one can achieve true humanity. His philosophy reminds us of the importance of human dignity and moral action, offering timeless inspiration. He was a great thinker who believed in the goodness of human nature and sought to make the world a better place through that goodness. One of the most important concepts in Mencius's thought is great moral energy. It refers to the vast, powerful force that fills the universe and can be attained through a righteous and moral life. Mencius emphasized that to cultivate this energy, one must consistently practice righteousness and live a life without shame under any circumstance. He believed that those who possess it would never be swayed by temptation or broken by adversity. Mencius said, "Wealth and honor cannot make me dissipated. Poverty and lowliness cannot make me change. And power and force cannot make me submit. This is what I call a great man." This quote best embodies Mencius's strength and the spirit of great moral energy. He aspired to live a life true to his principles, never bending to external pressures or authority. He himself lived by this ideal as he traveled to spread his kingly rule philosophy. Even when his ideas were rejected, he never faltered. He always acted with integrity, and sometimes boldly spoke the truth to rulers. His fearless stance may have made the powerful uncomfortable, but it deeply moved later generations. He did not chase material wealth or social status. He poured all his passion into what he believed was right, and into improving the lives of the people. Mencius saw true strength in protecting one's heart amidst the temptations of power. He believed that a life guided by moral conscience, free from greed and fame, is the path to true freedom and happiness. Mencius's philosophy also had a profound influence on education. He believed that since human nature is good, anyone can become a sage with proper education. He emphasized nurturing the seed of goodness within children's hearts and helping them cultivate virtue. His educational philosophy went beyond simple knowledge transmission, focusing on inner growth and the development of moral character. His teachings brought comfort and hope to people living in turbulent times. He asserted that by trusting in and realizing their inner goodness, people could remain steadfast even in the most difficult circumstances. His spirit of great moral energy continues to inspire us today, encouraging courage and determination in the face of challenges. Mencius was not just a philosopher, but a great teacher who showed moral courage and unwavering conviction through his own life. Although Mencius never attained political power, he had many excellent disciples. Even when he couldn't realize his ideals in practice, he did not fall into despair. Instead, he focused on teaching and nurturing future scholars. His disciples played a crucial role in recording and preserving his philosophy, and it is thanks to their efforts that we can study his ideas today. Mencius refined his philosophy through dialogue with his students. Rather than teaching unilaterally, he preferred a method of constant questioning and answering, exploring truth together. His classrooms were always vibrant, and his students were captivated by his deep insights and warm teachings. He taught them not only knowledge, but the moral duties of being human. The book Mencius is a record of conversations between Mencius, his disciples, and various rulers. As one of the Confucian classics, it is the most important source for understanding his thought. The book explains his theories of innate goodness, kingly rule, and great moral energy clearly and accessibly through examples and analogies. He stressed to his students the importance of learning and practicing on their own. He said, "If you reflect and are sincere, all under heaven will come to you." This means that by examining one's heart and acting truthfully, one naturally earns the respect and trust of others. Mencius believed that managing one's own mind rightly was more important than external recognition or success. He also maintained a critical perspective despite the limits of his era. He engaged in heated debates with other philosophical schools, such as Mohism and legalism, striving to uphold the integrity of Confucianism. He said, "Doing everything for others is not benevolent, and thinking oneself always right is not righteous." Pointing out the flaws in other schools of thought. These debates helped solidify his ideas and contributed to the development of Confucianism. though he dedicated his life to realizing his ideals. Mencius sometimes faced loneliness and frustration as a scholar. But he never gave up. Instead, he deepened his philosophy and devoted himself to passing on his wisdom to students. Thanks to his efforts, his thought has endured through the centuries and continues to influence us. Mencius was not just an academic, but a great teacher who pursued truth and justice through his life, inspiring countless others. The exact date of Mencius's death is uncertain, but it is believed he passed away in his mid-80s around 289 BCE in his hometown of Zhou. He devoted his entire life to promoting and practicing his philosophy. Although his ideals were not fully realized in his lifetime, his teachings left a profound legacy. His thought became a core part of Confucianism and a spiritual pillar of East Asian societies. What he left us is more than books, it is a deep and enduring philosophy. He said, "To preserve my mind and nurture my nature is to serve heaven." This means that the highest way to live is to preserve and cultivate the innate goodness within us, in accordance with the order of heaven. Mencius emphasized self-reflection and internal moral development over the pursuit of supernatural beings or metaphysical concepts. He also left the famous saying, "Fish is what I desire, bear's paw is also what I desire. If I cannot have both, I will give up fish and choose the bear's paw. Life is what I desire, righteousness is also what I desire. If I cannot have both, I will give up life and choose righteousness." This metaphor, known as the fish and bear's paw parable, clearly expresses how Mencius valued righteousness above even life itself. Mencius is not merely remembered as an ancient philosopher. He believed in the goodness of human nature, cherished the people, and devoted his life to justice. His life teaches us to uphold human dignity and moral values even in times of chaos. His teachings continue to pose fundamental questions about how we should live, awakening our inner goodness and guiding us toward a virtuous life. His legacy lives on, offering wisdom and inspiration to this day. When the weight of life feels overwhelming, we often find ourselves yielding to external pressure or falling into despair. However, the life and teachings of Mencius remind us once again of the importance of the innate goodness within us and the unyielding spirit. What he called Hao Ran Zhi Qi, or vast, righteous energy. Even in a time of great chaos, Mencius firmly upheld human dignity and moral values, walking steadfastly on the right path. Mencius tells us, when heaven is about to bestow a great responsibility upon someone, it first distresses their mind, exhausts their muscles and bones, starves their body, puts them in poverty and frustrates their efforts. This is to stimulate their mind, toughen their nature, and enable them to accomplish what they could not before. This quote contains deep wisdom. That hardship strengthens us and becomes the foundation for greater growth. What difficulties are you facing right now? Could it be that these very challenges are awakening your potential and shaping you into a greater person? May the life and teachings of Mencius bring true courage and awakening to your life.